Welcome, I'm Timotab, and today I'm going to solve Foggiano by Megan033. If you would like to try this puzzle for yourself, it'll be the first link in the description. Let's have a look at the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we're going to place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. The grid is partially covered in fog. Correctly placing digits will clear the fog around that cell. No guessing is required. So if I correctly determine that this is a 1, then all of these fog cells will clear. Adjacent digits along a green German whisper line must have a difference of at least 5. So if that were a 3, this would have to be an 8 or a 9 to be at least 5 away from it. Digits along a magenta renban line form a set of consecutive non-repeating digits in any order. So those two digits have to be consecutive, those two digits have to be consecutive. A dot between cells indicates cell values with a 2-to-1 ratio, so one will be double the other. So that cell will be double that, or that cell will be double that. A white dot between cells gives cells with consecutive values, so those two have to be consecutive, and cells filled with a filled circle must be odd, so that's going to be an odd digit. Okay, I am going to restart the puzzle to reset the timer, and let's begin. And where do we start? Interesting. So 5 can't go on the German whisper, and it can't go on a black dot. So 5 has 3 places it can go. So it can't go on a German whisper, because if I put a 5 on a German whisper, the next digit has to be 0 or less, or 10 or more. And they're not valid Sudoku digits. I can't place 5, 7, or 9 on a black dot because half of 5, 7, and 9 gives me a non-integer, and double 5, 7, or 9 gives me 10 or more. So I can't place 5, 7, or 9 on any of those cells. So those are all from 5, 7, and 9. And that can't be a 5. So this is a high digit. No, not necessarily. Because this could be 5, 7, and 9 in those 3. Okay, can this be 7? Is the next question. If this were 7, the only digits that can go next to a 7 are a 1-2 pair. 1 and a 2. 3 and 4 are too close. But if I put a 1 there, then I have to put a 2 there for the black dot. And if I put a 1 there, I have to put a 2 there for the black dot. But then that means I can't put a 2 on the line. So that is not a 7. Okay, can I put a 9 on this end of these, on one of these two renbans? If that's a 9, that has to be an 8. That has to be a 4, which makes that a 9. If that's a 9, that is an 8, that's a 4, which would make that a 9, because 9 is the only digit that can go next to a 4. So that's not a 9, and that is not a 9. Okay. We are whittling down some options. Okay, this is a 1 or a 3 because that's the only odd digits that can go on a black dot. So now 2 cannot go on the renban because 2 would require either a 1. Oh no, yes it could. Okay, 2 can't go here or here, because if that were a 2, wait. Never mind, I am not thinking straight. So we have 4. Right, if that were 9 and that were a 5-7 pair, then that would be a 1 or a 3. Which seems reasonably plausible. No, that can't work. Okay. The digits that can go on the digits that can go onto a black dot are 1, 2, 4, 8 and 3 and 6. Now, that means that a black dot always has at least one even digit on it. It could have an odd digit. Now, because we've definitely got 1 and 3 here, which are the only odd digits that can go on a black dot, then at most one of these can have an odd digit. But can we have all 4 as all 4 cells being even digits? Well, the even digits are 2, 4, 6, and 8. And I can't use the 6 because that would have to go with a 3. So I've only then got 2, 4, and 8 as even digits that I could put on these black dots. Therefore, there is an odd digit on one of these black dots. And the question is, which one? So if this is a 1, then this is a 2 by black dot logic, and then that is a 3 by renban logic, and that would break that cell. If this is a 1, then that is a 2 by black dot, and that is a 2 by renban, which breaks itself. The exact same logic applies for these 3 cells. Therefore, 1 does not go on the black dot. Therefore, I need to have a 3 on a black dot. This is not a 3, and that is a 1. And that is a 2. Okay. Well, that was at least a start. So I've got 3, 6 on one of these. Okay, that can't be 1 or 2. And so if it's low, it's 3 or 4. If it's high, it can't be 7 or 9, it's 6 or 8. So that is 3, 4, 6, or 8. How does that affect things? Right, 9 is here or here. If that's 9, that's 8. Okay, this can't be 3 or 4 because 4 would require 2 9s, 3 would require an 8 and a 9. So if this is low, it's a 2. And what does that look like? That makes that a 2. Sorry, that makes that a 2. That makes that an 8. And then that would have to be 7 or 9. Because it couldn't be 6 and it couldn't be 8. But it can't be 7 or 9 because of the black dots. That is not a 2. That is not low. That is high. That makes this low. There we go. So that can't be 9. So that is 5 or 7. We know that this is from 5, 7 or 9 because we know that there's a 3 on a black dot somewhere. This has to be high. If that's 3, 4, that has to be 8 or 9. Now if that's 8, that's 3, that's 6, that's 5 or 7. Right, if that's 4, that's 8. Okay, let's have a look here. That's 2, 3, or 4. If that's 2, that is 4. If it's 3, it's 6. If it's 4, it is 2 or 8. But that can't be 4, 2, because that would make that 3, and that would have no fill. So that is not a 2. So that's the only place for 2 in the box. All right. So now that is 4. That has to be 3 or 5, but we know that 3 is on the other black dot. In fact, we can put that in. That now has to go next to a 5. That must be a 7. That must be a 9. That's an 8. That is also an 8. Okay. Very nice. So this is either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it definitely has a 4 on it. 4 can't go here by Sudoku. It can't go there by odd digit, so the 4 goes there. This is either 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 can't go here or here by Sudoku, can't go here by odd digit, so the 6 goes here. That is now a 5 or a 7, but it can't be 5 by German Whispers logic. So that is a 7. That is a 1 because it can't be a 2. And then this is 6 because it can't be 7, 8, or 9. One can't go in any of those cells by Sudoku, and it can't go there. So this is a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those can't be 6s. That is a 6. This is a 3, 5 pair, and I don't think we know the order. There is definitely a 7 on this line, because it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but those can't be 7s, so that's a 7. So 4, 5, and 9 are the remaining candidates, and that one can't be a 4, and that one can't be a 9. Okay. So this is not 3, 6, because there's a 6 in the box. So it's from the 1, 2, 4, 8 set. That can be 1 or 2. That can be 1, 2, or 4. There is a definite 2 in one of those. That is not 6, 3, because of this 6. It can't have a 1 on it, so it's either 2, 4 or 4, 8. And that definitely has a 4 on it, making that 5 and that 9. I need a high digit on this bit of the German whisper line, and it can't be 7, 8, or 9, and that can't be a 6. So that's a 6. That's a 1. This is a high digit, which is not a 6 or 9, so that's a 7 or an 8. Okay. Let's think. So one of those two is a 3. If that is a 3, then that is an 8, which I don't see an obvious problem with at the moment. All right, this digit here must be an black dot eligible digit. So that must be 2, 3, or 4, because 1, 6, and 8 are gone. So that's 2, 3, or 4. We know that 5 is on this line. That can't be a 5 because of this one. That can't be a 5 because of this one. That can't be a 5. So the reason we know there's a 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because there's 5 digits, or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 at the extremes. So there will always be a 5 on a 5-cell renban. Therefore, that can't be a 5, those can't be a 5, that can't be a 5, that is a 5, making this 3 and 5. That by Sudoku makes this cell 5, and one of those is a 5. So this cell is either 4 or 9. But if it's 9, so the reason for that is it sees 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. But if it's 9, then the line is 98765, and that cell would be broken. So that is a 4. That means that that is not 4. So we at least have 3, 4, and 5. That can't be a 1 because there's a 1 in the box. It also can't be a 4 because there's a 4 in the column. So that is 3, that is 6. That makes this 2 or 7. Okay, in this row I need a 7, 8, or 9, and 7, 8 are gone. So that's 9, and that is 7 and 8. By Sudoku, that is a 9. And now one of those two is a 9, and one of those two is a 9. One of those two is a 6 by Sudoku. One of those two is a 3. Okay, if that's a 3, that must be an 8. Okay, we know that one of those two is a 4, so this is 2, 8, or 3. So if this is 8, this has to be a 1, because it can't be a 2, and it can't be a 4, and if that's 8, that's a 3. So if that's 8, that's a 1. If that's 3, that's an 8. And if that is 2, then that is a 7 or an 8. Okay, if this is an 8, that is a 3 because it can't be a 2. That's an 8, that's a 3. That would be 7 or 9. If that's a 2, or if that's a 4, that's a 9. Then that can't be 1, 2, or 3. Okay, that's not a 4. If that's a 4, that would have to be a 9. This would have to be a low digit, but I've already got 1, 2, and 3, and that would be a second 4 in the box. So that is not 4. That's where the 4 is. So this is 2, 3, or 8. Okay, if this is 2, this is high, this is low, which would be a 4 by the column, but I've already got a 4 in the box. So that is 8. Now this has to be a low digit, It can't be a 2, 1 or 4, so that is a 3. And then that means that this has to be a 9. So that's not a 9, that's not a 9, one of those two is. That 8 makes this 7 and 8. This sees 6, 7, 8 and 9, so it is a low digit. So that's 1, 2 or 4, but it can't be a 4 because that can't be a 9. So that is a 1 or a 2. That makes this a high digit, which has to be 6, 7 or 8 because it can't be a 9 and it can't be a 6 in fact, so it's 7 or 8. We need in this column a 4, 7 and 8. That is not a 4, so that is a 4. That is not an 8, so it's a 7. That's an 8, and that is a 1 or a 2. These 3 digits are now 2, 5 and 6. This 8 is looking across. Those are not 8s. That is a 2, 3 pair. That means that that is not a 1. It is a 7 or an 8. Okay. We are closing in. In this column, I need a 2, which can't go in either of those because of this 2, 3 pair, so this is a 2. And now we have a 4, 5 pair here. One of those is a 2, so that's not a 2. These 3 digits are 4, 7, 8. By the box. That is not a 4, that gives me a 7, 8 pair, and that makes this a 9, 2 pair, which makes this a 1. These 3 digits are 1, 2 and 3. That is not a 2. That gives me a 1, 2, 3 triple here. So this is 7 or 8, but it can't be a 7. So that's an 8. That is a 7. 3 can't go next to 7, so that's a 2. That's a 3. That's a 1. That's a 2. And that is a 3. These 2 digits are 1 and 6, which I don't think I can resolve yet. Okay, where to look next? Okay, one of those is a 2. Why couldn't that be a... All right, 2 is on one of those 2. Right. So where does 8 go in this row? It goes here. And now 8 in this column must go here. Yeah, it can't go here because of the 8. there. It can't go here because of the 8 there, and the candidates mean that that's not possible. So that's an 8. That can't be a 9 because that'd be an 8, so that's a 9. So now I have a 3 that goes on this white dot. We know that 2 is there, so this is a 3-4 pair. That's a 3. That's a 4. And that is not a 4. This is 1, 2, or 7 by the column, but it's not a 2, so that's a 1 or a 7, and I have a nice little chocolate teapot. This 3 is looking up. That's not a 3, and this is. That's not a 9, and this is. This is the last digit in the column, which appears to be a 5. This is 1, 2, or 7, and it's not a 7. So it's a 1 or a 2. Okay, that's not 4 by the row. That is. These two digits are 5 and 6. Which I don't think I know the order of, but that does tell me that this digit is a 7. That resolves my 2, 1, and 7, 2, and 1 down here. That makes this 6, this 1, this is 5, 4, and 5, and I get a 2-6 pair right there. This 7 makes this 8 and 7. In this box, I need a 1, which must go there. I need a 3, which must go there. I need a 4, which must go there. And I need a 9, which obviously goes here. That looks up there, gives me the 2-9 pair resolved, the 2-6 pair resolved, and the 5 and 6. And that was a delightful puzzle. Interesting break-in to really make me think, and then a nice aesthetic layout once the whole fog is revealed. Thank you very much, Megan033, for creating it. If you liked this solve, then please hit the like button. You can subscribe to see some more, and I would love to hear your comments. I'm looking forward to next time. Be seeing you.